Hi everyone, this is Jona. Thank you for tuning in actually to the podcast live Empower and Thrive, a holistic digital approach in business. Again, I'm Jona and I'm a social media strategist helping you get visible and attract more clients with my three-step method, strategy, structure, and consistency. Today we have a special guest. I'm going to leave the floor to our special guest, Kath Vincent from Long White Cloud. But what does Kath do? I will leave her explain what she does, how she does, and what inspires her to do what she does. So the floor is yours, Kath, and then we're going to crack on with the questions. Thank you.
Thanks for having me here today. Very exciting. I haven't done one of these for quite a few months, but I'm Kath Vincent. My company name is Long White Cloud Accounting because I'm an accountant of my whole career, 25 years, and it started in New Zealand, hence the name Long White Cloud. New Zealand is the land of the Long White Cloud, and I've been over here in London for about 16 years now and running a virtual finance department offering from my home office in Sutton in South London. I help establish limited companies being their virtual finance department, basically. And that means bookkeeping, so from the ground up, day-to-day bookkeeping, VAT returns, and monthly financial reporting and management accounts and things like that.
Thank you, Kath, for the introductions. I want to talk about the visibility. So people usually very much neglect their finances, or they don't want to talk about, or they struggle putting their messaging, or they're not knowing what to do, how to do. How do you help them build financial habits, good habits, into looking after their finances, please?
Lots of people have this big idea that they're entrepreneurs, they're passionate, they've got a trade, or they've got, the day-to-day job, but actually turning that into a business is something quite different. So you've got to think about the finance function of any business, whether it's tiny or big, is actually a very, very strong foundation. Without that in your foundation, your business can go completely wrong. So finances and especially cash flow should be part of every single person's foundation of their business. And it starts with knowing what your numbers are doing and keeping it in check every single day that you run your business. You say you're a tiny business starting out, you can have something in your calendar. So every day look at something different, or once a week you need to sit down and have a look at your numbers and what they're saying and try to understand them. People just go for it, they're passionate about something and they run out of cash and they have to close and try something else. So it's actually extremely important, and obviously I'm very passionate about it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for explaining that and for giving your insight around how business owners must not neglect their finances in this case. But I wonder, how can they keep track of the cash flow in this case? I know we talked about finance a bit, we touched on it, but the cash flow is really important for small business owners as well.
So even before you think about, higher stuff like, am I making a profit, or what is my tax bill going to be? Everybody needs cash in order to survive. It's like the bloodline of any kind of business. So to keep track of it, you want to be on some kind of accounting software. It doesn't have to be fancy, but actually with the new HMRC making tax digital things coming in, everybody should be on accounting software. Did you know about that? Making tax digital for income tax?
I did, because we had a master in our Moving Women Forward community, and one of the accountant guest speaker in that case, who was hosting the master, mentioned this news, this update from HMRC. So yes.
Yeah, so it should be rolled out. I mean, we've known about it in our world for years, but people are actually going to be communicated directly with HMRC starting, I think, this month. And the turnover is not very high, so a lot of people are going to come under it. And it means that you need to have everything on accounting software that links directly to HMRC and do quarterly updates to them with your numbers. So it's coming up for everybody, basically. If you have your numbers in some accounting software and use the cash flow functionality, you can have everything in there and use the cash flow kind of module. Like it might have a nice graph. And cash flow is about on any given day of the calendar. So you've got all these days on the calendar going through a month. On any given day, your cash flow needs to be above zero. And as you grow and get a more kind of complicated business, you'll have people that owe, so you'll be paying out costs for doing things, and you'll have people that owe you, and they need to pay you to bring the cash flow back up to above zero, because people just go and they forget about it, and finance is not their forte, and they just go helping everybody, saying yes, 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 I can help you, and they fast run out of cash. And also, you may have covered this as well, it's a great idea to have pots in your savings account or whatever works for you, to say, this is my income tax bill that I'm saving towards. So take that out of your day-to-day cash so that you have it saved there in a pot for when it's due, rather than just spending all of the money in there and having a massive tax bill and not being able to pay it. Lots of people fall under VAT, so VAT needs paying out normally every 3 months, and corporation tax if you're a limited company. But if you're not sure who the audience is here, it might be a mixture of sole traders and limited companies. But if you're a
Mostly, small
yeah.
businesses and sole traders, yes.
So sole traders, it's very important to set aside an amount to pay as tax, because you don't want to be hit with a big big tax bill. So this all comes back to cash flow and keeping an eye on it and keeping it front of your mind, because all of a sudden, very quickly, it can get out of hand, and then you're in strife and you're saying, I can't keep going because I've run out of cash. I literally can't keep this business going. So it's about keeping an eye on the cash flow and keeping it very, very high priority for your business finances. I'd say that's number one, really.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kath, for clarifying the updates and providing us with further info in that regard. One question that I have, though, obviously we are not going to chat all the details of how accounting works and how bookkeeping works, but one of the questions I get asked from my clients in general is they struggle with keeping up to date with the records. So what can be one tip that they can implement today?
Yeah, so this is all about the accounting record keeping. Is actually when you do your bookkeeping, it's termed bookkeeping. Keeping the accounts, keeping the books. So in the olden days, it was actually physical books, and that's where I think the term comes from. These days, it's all digital bookkeeping online, but they still need to be kept up to date. Don't wait, because if you're doing it even once a month or once a quarter, you're going to be losing all of your source documents, your receipts and everything. So most accounting systems have an app that can be on your phone, and every time you spend something on your business account, snap a photo of the receipt that you get, the piece of paper, so that you're turning a physical piece of paper into a digital record straight away, as soon as possible, and that will go straight into your accounting records and accounting system. If you lose things, if you pay for some things yourself, by the way, you should always have a separate bank account for your business, even if you're a sole trader. That's going to make it far easier and really, really good for when making tax digital for income tax hits your kind of threshold. So you've got a business bank account. Every time you spend out of there, take a pic of the receipt on your phone. So literally open the app. It will open the camera. You snap the receipt, and then you know that it's digital and you can't lose it. And just I think at the very least every week, block out your diary, set aside some time, and keep everything updated. Make sure everything is up to date. Every single transaction in your bank account, you know what it is, and you've got a source document for it, and you can do your bookkeeping. So have you got all of your sales and they're up to date? Is everybody paying you on time? Have you got all of your expenses, and are they categorized? Are they things you pay for rent, or stationery that you've had to buy for your business, or subscriptions and everything? Every single one of those should have what we call a source document, a purchase invoice that you've paid for, or a receipt to show who you've paid and what you've paid it for. And that is about keeping really good accounting records. And every single business needs to do this. Yeah, so it's keeping on top of it and digitizing everything possible.
I like the idea of building up this consistency. So I talk a lot about consistency on social media, and definitely keeping your accounts in order and your books in order. It's very much necessary, I think, in having that control over the cash flow, expenditures, and whatever you are looking to put to get out of the accounts, or of the planning, or whatever it takes. Um, I remember also in the olden days when I used to go in uni, when I was in uni actually, we were doing accounting back then. And it was something that everybody was like, yeah, but it's there. We've got the receipts. We're going to save them. Obviously, in the olden days, we didn't have the accounting software. Maybe the accountant people have had the software, but we as humans and students, we didn't have such platforms. Nowadays is all over the market for any business owner, or any individual for that matter, to download these apps. Is there any one app that you in particular would recommend for small business owners? That can be a sole trader or can be a limited company.
Well, for very small sole traders, there's Free Agent, which comes free with certain types of bank accounts from NatWest. So Metal, Mettle. So there are free versions, and Free Agent is very good, I hear, for the very small, simplistic sole trader businesses. When you're a limited company and you get all into something called accrual accounting, and it gets a bit messy, and you're VAT registered, I run a Xero only practice. So Xero, which is about Xero, is a mainstream accounting software. You pay a subscription. There's all kinds of different kinds. It doesn't have to be that expensive. I even pay about £9 a month for my family finances to put all of our bank accounts on there, because that is how I keep a track every single day. I'm in Xero keeping a track of our expenditure and shouting out across our hallway in our home to my husband, do we still need this subscription, and what was this payment for, and do you need to claim this back off your work and everything, because he's employed, and keeping a really good track of things. So I run a completely digital, virtual offering where we're on software all the time. So Free Agent, look at that up for the simple sole traders. Otherwise, Xero, and Xero is very similar to what QuickBooks offer. So people may have heard of QuickBooks. Those two are quite similar, and sometimes it's literally personal preference. So you can go in and have a look at a demo company or see how it works. If you're doing your own bookkeeping, you want something that makes sense to you. If you're using like a professional bookkeeper like what I do, you might use what systems they're using. They'll set you up on it and they'll take control. And you'll have a login and can see what's happening, but they are going to do it for you. So yeah, something that can keep track of your turnover as well, because it is only 90,000 in any 12-month period. That if you're likely to hit that, then you need to register for VAT. So you need to keep track of what your turnover levels are. And there's I think it's 50,000 to be captured in April 26 for HMRC's MTD for income tax. And then the year after, April 27, I think it's 30,000 that your turnover is to be captured and have to submit reports to HMRC through accounting software every 3 months. So keeping a track of your turnover, I'm not talking about profit, just your total sales, is also much, much easier if you're using an accounting system, if you're using a piece of software. So there's many, many benefits, and there's many things to choose from, but sometimes it's what's going to work best for your brain. What do you like the look of? What are you going to be encouraged to use? Because if you don't like using something, you're not going to go and use it as often, are you? So it needs to work for you.
You must, though, right? If you want
to
take control of your finances.
You must. So something that encourages you and you like the look of, and that you understand and that works for the way your brain works, is going to really help you use it much, much more. So yeah, something that suits you. There's plenty of things out there.
Great tip. I like that. I like that very much. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it with us. The tip on which platform, which software in this case, users can make use of their finances and keep an eye on what is happening. I want to understand what is one of the ways that people can avoid business owners, because we're talking about business. So it's always a holistic digital approach in business. So holistically speaking, so how to avoid stress and surprises? What can be one of the ways that people can tackle? We don't want mindset tips in here, but something that business owners can find beneficial and help them to not waste their time, so it can save time, avoid surprises, so extra taxes to pay because, I don't know, you will tell me what.
So from a holistic kind of any business owner's view, it's to get the right support and help. And sometimes it is an investment. So anybody starting off a business and think they're going to turn over 6 figures and make a profit that was equal to when you were working full time and you had a 60K salary is they're probably dreaming quite a bit. So I think you need to, it can take, many years to invest in a business and get up and running. So investing in the resources to lower your stress, I would say, number one, you need the help of a coach so that you're looking at the right things and working on the right things and setting your business up properly from the beginning. Because, there's many good ideas, but they might not make business sense. And then getting the help of a VA or an admin person. And the third thing is obviously a bookkeeper, which is my area. So when you have expert people helping you in your business, yes, you need to pay them, but there's nothing like it because you're busy here, your day is filled, and you don't want to spend 20 hours every month pulling together a social media post a week where you can pay somebody this amount to do it for you. Because how much is 20 hours worth of your time? Probably quite a bit when you should be working on something else. So delegation and getting the support of really proper resources will help a lot. In the finance regard, it is making sure that you've put that pot, remember that pot I talked about for income tax. It's no use spending all that money through the financial year and then having a tax return done and finding out, having a massive surprise and a huge headache that you now have to find even £10,000 to pay your tax bill and it's due here and you've spent the cash. So every month, if you set aside an amount, and a financial person can help you with this, you might have someone doing your tax return that you can ask how much you should put aside. If you put that aside, then when it comes to pay the bill, it's there, it's ring fenced, it's in a separate pot, and you're not going to have the worry of paying HMRC late, which is never a good idea, or having to borrow some money off friends and family, which will put you backwards even more because where are you going to get that money to pay them back and things? So yeah, it's not easy running your own business, but there's lots of things that you can do, I think, to help you out and get you off to the best possible start.
Thank you, Kath. I remember some time ago, before I had an accountant running my accounts, I had forgotten, I'm sure I had paid something, but I had forgotten to pay into the accounts. So the little pot or big pot that the HMRC requires us to pay as small traders. So that moment I had to pay charges. So I had to pay fees on top of what I was actually paying. That moment triggered the action of go and get the account now. So can you give me obviously a little tip on how people can do that before they are in my position? So before they run into this inconvenience and they have to pay taxes and more money out of their pocket for something that they could have avoided.
Yeah. So people working with sole traders say something like put aside, it might be 20 or 30% of all of your sales. Separately, put the cash aside before you spend it. With me and limited companies, we're all on software, and we keep our clients' bookkeeping up to date so much. We're talking about every single week that we can see what their profit and loss is, because remember, you pay tax on your profit. So in business, you need your sales less your expenses to get your profit. So and there's a lot of tax planning you can ask an accountant about. If you like, you could spend 2, 3, 5% of your whole turnover just to get the proper financial advice and set you up properly and lower your stress and know what you're doing with your numbers from the beginning, from even the idea of having a business. I mean, what business structure are you going to set up as? Are you a partnership, sole trader, limited company, community interest group, or a charity, or whatever? So, yeah, and people, it's a great investment to make, obviously, I'm going to say that. But you're a limited company, you're on software, your bookkeeping's being kept up to date every single week, and you can go along and see what is my profit looking like. And then the person helping you, or if you're doing it yourself, you say, right, corporation tax is this percentage, 19% if it's under, say, 50,000 profit and everything. The limits always change, so make sure you're having the correct percentage. And so I expect my corporation tax on this month's profit to be this much. And it's the same concept, it's putting it aside, using the pots. I use Starling business bank accounts, and you literally have different pots that you can transfer money into. So if you run payroll, obviously you're going to have PAYE every month to pay, or pension contributions, or VAT and corporation tax. Have as many pots as you need that work for you, and siphon off that money before you spend it, so that when you look at the cash in your bank, you're not saying, wow, I have £60,000 sitting there. I can afford to now go and recruit another person, employ somebody full time. Well, you don't, because 55,000 of that 60,000 needs to be paid out in corporation tax in a couple of months' time. So yeah, it's the same kind of principles, I think.
Amazing. So know your numbers. And how do you know the numbers? By having
Yeah.
your accounts in order.
Yeah.
The expert, definitely. The expert like you, Kath, in this case, you would be really a great recommendation for the audience if they have any issues or they are still there, not deciding what to do. I'm sure they will get in touch with you. And by the way, if you have any questions for Kath, please put them in either in the comments after this call, or you can put them, or you can DM Kath if that's all right, Kath, with you. They can DM you because I'm not the person, the expert in this case. So we are near the ending time of our call, so I'd like for you to give us a little bit of flavor of what are you up to? Like, are you running any workshops, or are you doing any special project with someone, with a client, or some saving tips, or anything that you want to share with the audience? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, these days I'm doing a lot of work with other bookkeepers and accountants, helping out them with, say, a big client tidy up or clean up or anything. So I do a lot of work with other professionals who bring me in to help them out. I do have a free download on my website. My website is longwhitecloud.co.uk. And because we work with established limited companies, we have a free download there that actually probably any business owner can make use of. It's the 5 things every business owner needs to check in their accounting system every month. And it talks about, are you getting paid on time? Are you paying everything out that you need to? And what is your P&L looking like? And then it talks a bit about balance sheets and stuff. So that's a quite a short PDF download that's probably quite useful to everybody listening today. Yep, and I'll drop the website on there. And then once you go into the website, it's very easy to see. I'm quite hectic at the moment with lots of work. I've pivoted my business. Don't be afraid to change your business to suit you, by the way. I've pivoted quite a lot. I've been in business 4 years. I think I've pivoted quite a lot, like quite big amounts, 3 times now. So I was quite like getting to be quite a big business with quite a lot of people working with me, quite a big team. And I was completely stressed out and it wasn't working. So I've gone back to working by myself. I'm more of like a kind of single sole director company, and I'm keeping it quite contained. And if you get in contact with me and I can't help you, I've got a massive community of other bookkeepers and accountants and I'm always referring other people on. Say if you're a sole trader, which I don't help, I've got people, really good people that I can put you in touch with. So for me, it's about making sure that your business works for you. I've got really clear priorities in my life, and my business is not my number one. It's actually my kids and my fitness and health. And so, yeah, I've changed and I've adapted, and I'm always encouraging others to do that as well. Make sure your business is working for you. It can grow into a huge, hairy monster quite easily, and just keep it in check a bit, I'd say.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Really helpful. Very thankful of this conversation. Very insightful. I will share the link to the podcast, to the audio podcast on Spotify, as well as the YouTube channel after the call. But thank you so much again, Kath, and thank you everybody who joined or who is watching the replay soon after. We'll catch up soon for next week for another episode of Empower and Thrive. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.